Theory and Practice of Interpersonal Communication, Assignment 5, Communication Climax, by Amanda Shaw and Nada Imera. This concept can be found in the textbook Looking Out, Looking In Chapter 9, pages 404 to 409. Communication Climax. Communication climax is the emotional tone of a relationship between two or more individuals. Positive or negative. The tone of relationships is shaped by the degree to which the people believe themselves to be valued by one another. Confirming communication is a message that expresses caring or respect for another person, whereas disconfirming communication is a message that expresses lack of caring or respect for one another. Types of disconfirming messages. Disconfirming messages convey a lack of respect or appreciation. Like their confirming counterparts, these messages can shape the climax of an entire relationship. There are many different types of disconfirming messages. They are verbal abuse, complaining, impervious responses, interrupting, irrelevant responses, tangential responses, impersonal responses, ambiguous responses, and incongruous responses. In this presentation, we will be discussing the following types of disconfirming messages: irrelevant responses, tangential responses, impersonal responses, and incongruous responses. Irrelevant responses. An irrelevant response is a disconfirming response in which one communicator's comments bears no relationship to the previous speaker's ideas. A comment unrelated to what the person just said is an irrelevant response. In this next scene, you will see an example of an irrelevant response.
Hey, do you have the records for patient in 304?
What's a 5-letter word for obstacle?
What?
Tangential response. Tangential response is a disconfirming response that uses a speaker's remarks as a starting point for a shift to a new topic. Instead of ignoring the speaker's remark completely, the other party uses it as a way to change the topic. In the following scene, you will see an example of a tangential response.
Hey, are you coming to the formal? Because I need to know there's limited tickets left.
I have an exam and 2 labs due this week. I'm so swamped with work. I can't even think of what the formal right now.
Impersonal response. Impersonal response is a disconfirming response that is superficial or trite. These responses are loaded with cliches and other statements that never truly respond to the speaker. In the next scene, you will see a scenario between an employee and her boss.
Hey, do you have a minute?
Yeah, sure.
So I've been having some personal problems lately, and I'm just wondering if I could go home early for the next couple of days just so I could deal with them.
Ah, yes, personal problems. Everybody has them. Seems like a sign of the time these days.
Incongruence response. Incongruous response is a disconfirming response in which two messages, one of which usually nonverbal, that denies or contradicts each other. In the next scene, you will see a clip between two friends where her answer is clouded by her laughter.
Does this make me look fat?
No it doesn't.
Okay.
Types of confirming messages. Even though there is no guarantee that others will receive even your best efforts at confirming messages the way you intend them, research shows that 3 increasingly positive types of messages have the best chance of being confirming. These are recognition, acknowledgement, and endorsement. Recognition. The most fundamental act of confirmation is to recognize the other person. Recognition seems easy and obvious, yet we often don't respond to others on this basic level. Failure to write or visit a friend is a common example. So is failure to return a phone message. Avoiding eye contact and not approaching someone you know on campus, at a party, or on the street sends a negative message. Of course, this lack of recognition may simply be an oversight. You may not notice your friend, or the pressure of work and school might prevent you from staying in touch. Nonetheless, if the other person perceives you as avoiding contact, the message has an effect of being disconfirming. Acknowledgement. Acknowledging ideas and feelings of others is a stronger form of confirmation. Listening is probably the most common form of acknowledgement. Of course, counterfeit listening, ambushing, stage hugging, pseudo-listening, and so on have the opposite effect. More active acknowledgement includes asking questions, paraphrasing, and reflecting. Not surprisingly, employees rate highly managers who solicit their opinions, even when the managers do not accept every suggestion. Endorsement. Whereas acknowledging means you are interested in another's idea, endorsement means you agree with them. It is easy to see why endorsement is the strongest type of confirming message, since it communicates the highest form of valuing. The most obvious form of endorsement is agreeing. Fortunately, it isn't necessary to agree completely with another person to endorse his or her message. You can probably find something in the message that you can endorse. Outright praise is a strong form of endorsement, and one you can use surprisingly often once you look for opportunities to compliment others. Nonverbal endorsement can also enhance the quality of a relational climate.
It is hard to overstate the importance of a positive communication climate. It is the best predictor of marital satisfaction. Satisfied couples have a 5-to-1 ratio of positive to negative statements, whereas the ratio for dissatisfied couples is 1-to-1. Positive confirming messages are just as important in families and can influence the communication motives of both parents and children. The same principle holds in the job. Employees have a higher level of commitment at jobs in which they experience a positive communication climate. Studies also show that performance and job satisfaction increase when the communication climate is positive. Whether it's the workplace, classroom, or the home, people look for and stay in communication climates that affirm and support them. If you wish to cultivate a positive communication climate, you must use confirming messages and avoid the many types of disconfirming messages.